Marni Spencer Devlin here, best-selling author of Crawling into the Light and the creator of the Iceberg Principles, helping you to have better relationships, more health and vitality, and abundant living through conscious awareness. Here with another episode of Insights. The holidays are a tough time for many people because most of us have family issues. People are depressed, either because they don't have a family or they're depressed because they do, and it's a mess. And that makes Jingle Bell time a swell time to talk about the subject of forgiveness. What is it? How to go about doing it? And most of all, why? So what is forgiveness? Hurt and anger are natural and normal responses when a wrong has been done to us. In fact, it's much healthier to acknowledge that we were hurt than to pretend that everything's just fine. It's not really about whining, it's about honesty. Denial will turn into resentments that fester in dark places. We cannot really heal until we are honest with ourselves. But there is such a thing as too much honesty. Once we felt our anger, perhaps stewed, grieved for a while, then we need to let it go, or it will turn against us. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. We're the only ones that are getting hurt. It becomes a necessity to take our foot off the neck of the offender. We cannot wait until the injury is healed. It's not like taking off a bandage after the wound has healed. In this case, the wound cannot really heal unless the bandage comes off first. Forgiveness is not something we do for the offender. It is necessary to do it for ourselves in order to heal. So how do we do it? Everyone tells us to forgive, but nobody really tells us how to go about doing it. But the reason there aren't any instructions for forgiveness is because it's not really a thing in itself. Forgiveness is not a process that we could follow step by step. Rather, it is an awareness that we gain. As long as we're caught up in tunnel vision, all we can see is the injury and the wrong that has been done to us. In order for forgiveness to occur, we must step back and see the bigger picture. And in order to see the bigger picture, we must turn to truth. It appears that just about everyone took some damage in his or her childhood, right? I know it seems that way, but it's not really true. Truth is that we did not enter this incarnation with a blank slate. We already had a certain energetic frequency level, and it was the same level at which we left the last lifetime. We picked our parents accordingly, based on a frequency that matched our own. Otherwise, we could not have attracted them. Parents were people who consciously or unconsciously made themselves available to bring us into this physical world. They lent us their DNA, out of which our bodies are formed. Without them, we could not be here. So regardless of their level of parenting skills, we owe them a karmic debt of gratitude for this. The Iceberg Principles teach us that in this universe, our life experiences are reflections of our own beliefs and our own perceptions. Although our family's criticisms, lack of support, and in some cases real abuse were real, they could not have happened unless there was a match to our own beliefs and perceptions about what we deserved. The level of esteem at which we held ourselves became reflected in our parents' treatment of us. Since most of us labor under the belief that we are much less than perfect, our childhood experiences reflected this. Now, what this means for us today is that we can stop playing the blame game. We can stop assigning culpabilities for our experiences to our parents. If they had given us anything different, we would not have been able to perceive it. It would not have been a match to us. We can stop meting out punishment Our parents' behavior was simply a reflection of our own highest level of awareness for us at the time. Their treatment of us was the best we could imagine for ourselves then. See, we do not come from our parents. We come through them. We share their DNA, yes. We share similar energetic frequency. And that's the real reason why we appear so similar to them. Bear in mind that the things you most hate about your parents must also be in you. Otherwise, you could not see them. My point is that your parents are people just like you. Just like you, they did not come with an operations manual. Just like you, they made mistakes. And just like you, they can only ever do the best that they can. I know in some instances it might have appeared as if they were being intentionally mean. And this might be true. However, their actions were nevertheless rooted in ignorance. Nobody can hurt anybody else without first and finally hurting him or herself first. If they had known what they were doing to themselves on an energetic and karmic level, they would not have done so. As it stood, they were operating at their highest level of awareness. They may have fallen far short of proper conduct, but it is still the best of which they were capable of. Nobody can suddenly know more than they can know at the time. Nobody can jump over his or her shadow. The only way to break the cycle of hurt that we are feeling is to give them a break. I know sometimes the very thought of giving a break to someone who has hurt us so deeply is offensive, but it is the only way that we can stop feeling the pain. The key to forgiveness is recognizing that everyone is always operating at his or her highest level of awareness. Our feelings for the person may be less than loving, but if we continue to hold them in condemnation, we are the ones that continue to get hurt. As long as we hold on to our righteous anger, it is ourselves we hold imprisoned. The moment we give someone else a break, we give ourselves a break too. The moment we let them off the hook, we can feel something inside of us let go. The pain we feel dissolves. But there is another, even bigger payoff to forgiveness, and that is this. Our family members reflect all of us. They reflect the worst in us, but they also reflect our very best. But as long as we remain focused only on the bad, we never get to the good. What we focus on always looms largest. As long as we remain focused on our family's mistakes and shortcomings, we miss out on the good parts in them, and therefore we also miss out on the good parts in ourselves as well. Nobody's childhood was all bad. No matter how horrible things might have been, there were happy moments that deserved to be remembered and treasured, especially if there was bad. But these memories of happy moments remain locked away as long as we choose to only focus on the bad stuff. Unless we choose to end the cycle, all we can remember is the bad. But now, it's no longer the offender. Now it's us who's keeping the offense alive. We are the ones that are the guilty party now. But when we forgive, the beautiful moments can come back to us. And guess what? This is ultimately the only way we can finally and permanently heal the wounds of our childhood. But there's even more. As you stop the cycle of anger towards your family, whether they're alive or dead, you break your own karmic cycle of ignorance and clear away the karmic misconceptions which created the circumstances of your birth in the first place. You clean the slate. your energetic frequency increases and you become more aware of your real true nature, which is love. As you become more loving, it not only reflects your own experience, but also in the world around you. When you give yourself permission to forgive, you literally make the whole world a better place. And isn't that, after all, what the holidays are really all about? That's it for this episode of Insights. If you found it helpful, then share it, tweet it, and leave your comments below. I really want to hear, what were your issues with forgiveness and how have you dealt with them? If you're not on the list, go to marnispencerdevlin.com and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. And as always, thanks for watching. Happy holidays, and I will see you soon.